Welcome to SJS Arts. So today I'm gonna talk about my favorite directors and films made by them that I haven't seen yet. So in my favorite directors list, there are 40 directors in there. So I'm gonna divide this topic into two different videos. So in this first video, we are gonna talk about directors from number 1 to number 20, and then in the next video, number 21 to number 40. Yeah, and of course there are some directors here whose filmographies I have completed, so there aren't any films that I haven't seen yet. But with many of these directors, there are still films for me left to watch. Yeah, and I'm really excited to watch those films that I haven't seen yet. Yeah. And again, let me know if there are any films that I haven't seen yet here that you have seen and that you would like to recommend me. That would be fun. Yeah. And by the way, I'm gonna mostly focus on feature films, again, the short films. There are lots of them with some of these directors. Yeah. And by the way, don't mind this order these directors are in. Again, I have ordered them, but again, the order changes all the time, and I'm never completely happy with the order. Yeah. But I mean, I'm pretty happy with the top 10, but yeah. So we're gonna start with David Lynch and Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, my favorite film of all time. But with Lynch, I've seen all of his features and plenty of his shorts, but not all of the shorts. So I'm not gonna talk about Lynch here much because again, I've seen all the features, but you can see here 34%, 25 out of 72 films. And if we click here, hide watched films, you can see that it's these shorts and commercials and stuff like that that I haven't seen yet. And I'm sure that I will watch lots of these in the future, but again, I'm not sure how available all of these are even, so yeah. But that is David Lynch. Don't you fucking look at me. Now it's dark. Do it for Van Gogh. It's a strange world. Yeah. And then the next director, Rainer Werner Fassbinder. With him, I have quite lots of more films that I haven't seen yet. So these are the films that I haven't seen yet. So again, most of these are stuff that isn't as famous as his biggest films. And some of these I actually own, so I will be watching them sometime soon. But Martha, for example, I've heard is a really good film that I haven't seen yet. Then there's this very early stuff like Love is Colder Than Death and Katzelmacher. I own both of those. Yeah. And again, Fassbinder has a really big filmography considering that he died when he was 37. It's pretty impressive, especially considering how quite a lot of his work is absolutely masterful, even though he kept like making so many films all the time. Yeah. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to many of these. Yeah. And again, with each of these, you can see that as represented by my favorite film of theirs. So all of these film posters that you see here are from films that are my favorites by these directors, although with some of them, the number one spot is a bit contested, that I'm not like exactly sure which is my number one. But with the first two directors, I'm sure about it. And with the third director as well, who is Ingmar Bergman, or as you English speaking people mispronounce it, Bergman. Yeah. Um, but there's again lots of Bergman films that I haven't seen yet, although it's mostly the kind of tier two, tier three Bergman films. Although it would be really interesting to hear which one out of these would be like really good in your opinion. Um, Again, I own some of these, so I will be watching them. But yeah, so I think some of the ones that I'm most excited to watch are The Magic Flute and From the Life of Marionettes, for example. Wasn't this kind of like scenes from a marriage, maybe, if I remember correctly? And Sarah Bond would be interesting to see again. A later work by Bergman from the 2000s. Yeah. But yeah, Bergman again, while he has some weaker films, he's at least to me, he has been mostly consistent. That even his weaker films are still like okay films; they aren't bad. Yeah, but Persona is definitely my favorite one. Then we have Yasujirō Ozu, and with him, my favorite film by him is definitely contested. It could be Tokyo Story, it could be Late Spring, it could be an autumn afternoon. Although an autumn afternoon I've only seen once, so that one I need to rewatch before deciding what is my favorite. But yeah, and also I've watched some Ozu films for the first time earlier this year, like Tokyo Twilight, Early Spring, and The End of Summer, and I loved all of those three films. But I think especially Tokyo Twilight was something that really struck me as something that maybe could be even his greatest work, or at least one of them. Yeah. So some of these are actually like fairly important works that I haven't seen yet. Again, they are like Tokyo Story level of important, but quite important. Again, Ozu has a massive filmography, so there are 38 films that I haven't seen, so that's a lot. So I've seen 16. So we have There Was a Father, Story of Floating Weeds, for example, A Hen in the Wind. An Inn in Tokyo is apparently very good. Yeah. But I'm excited to watch all of these that are available. I think probably some of these that you see here in the bottom are stuff that aren't available to watch. So yeah, but quite lots of this stuff is. And maybe I should always show the percentages as well. So 29%. So pretty bad, but I will do better in the future. Okay, some of these are on the Criterion channel, so I might be watching them soon. But let me know your favorite Ozu films. So with Kubrick, I'm again, this is very quick. 16 out of 16, 100%. That's always such an kind of uh, satisfactory thing to see. Yeah, I always get a smirk when I see the 100%. Makes me feel really good. So yeah, I've seen even the short films, and again, many of these I've seen so many times. Again, you can see that I've logged The Shining 12 times, and I've seen it over 20 times. So yeah, even in the cinema once. So yeah. Then we have The Nun or La Religieuse, which is my favorite Jacques Rivette film and film that I would recommend to absolutely everybody. I would get this poster if one could get it cheap. Yeah. But with Rivette, there are actually lots of films that I haven't seen yet, but the ones that I have seen have been just so good that he's very high on my favorites list, even though there's a lot for me to watch. But you can see here, I've only seen 10 films by him. And again, it's mostly due to the inaccessibility of some of his films that they aren't easy to find. Although recently they have gotten released in America by the Cohen Films, I think. But again, I cannot afford to import them at the moment, but I would love to import them. But this is one that I have access to, like digitally. So I'm looking forward to watching this L'amour fou. Apparently a very good film, but it's just very long, so that's why I haven't watched it yet. These two I'm very excited to watch. Again, I've sometimes seen these uploaded to YouTube and stuff, but they are always either awful quality or they don't have subtitles or both, so I haven't watched them yet. Then I have access to the first John the Maid film, but I don't have access to the second part, although I might have if I went and looked. But I need to watch these. These sound very good. Again, it's the Joan of Arc story, but from Rivette's perspective. And this one I've always wanted to see, but I've never been able to find it, at least digitally. You can probably find some like out of print DVDs or stuff, but yeah, I don't know. La Savouille sounds really interesting too. And I think Secret Defense was one of the films that was released on Blu-ray. Yeah. This is the shorter version of Out One. I've seen the long version, which I love, but yeah. Then there are some of these short films as well. But a huge fan of Rivette. And I think he should always be in the conversation for the best French directors. I think many people often forget about him for some reason. Then we have Masaki Kobayashi. It's kind of the same case as with Rivette that there are many of his films that I haven't seen yet, but the ones that I have seen are just so mind-blowing that I just have to have him very high on my list. So Harakiri and The Human Condition are both like top 10 level of films for me. And I would have The Human Condition on my Sight and Sound palette if I were to do one. Yeah. Again, CineArtTherapy just made a video about The Human Condition, which was very good. He focused on the themes of the film, so again, the individual versus the system. That was the focus of his video, but his video was so good. I implore you to go watch it. And yeah, again, 33%. Again, some of these are very inaccessible that you cannot see them anywhere, I think. But now that I have the Criterion channel, I will be watching some of them. Like these three, I will be watching. I mean, that has the Criterion logo, so I guess that's in the Criterion channel too. And The Youth of the Sun, and then Fountainhead was there, and Beautiful Days was there as well. This one I think wasn't there, but I might be wrong. And I've seen some people log this one, The Fossil, apparently a very good film. So I think this probably will be available somewhere in the depths of the internet. Yeah, but these ones I will be watching very soon because I have the Criterion channel, unless I get like a film slump or something. But if my current film mood continues, I will be watching them soon. Okay, let me know what you think of these. I know not that many people have seen these, but CineArtTherapy again mentioned The Fountainhead, for example, and I know that Solitary Ronin has watched the Eclipse set films. This is currently the number one on Letterboxd list, by the way, and I'm really happy about that because this is one of the absolute greatest films of all time, and it deserves all the praise that it can get. Yeah. By the way, I'm sorry that there isn't that much substance on this video. Again, this is mostly just showcasing the films that I haven't seen, and you'll also get to see what my favorite directors list is at the moment. Again, I did a kind of more dedicated video for that last year, but um, but the list hasn't changed that much that I would do like that type of video yet, at least. Yeah. So these are the ones that I haven't seen yet. This is the new Kaurismäki film, Fallen Leaves, that I think won the second prize at Cannes. I'm very excited to watch this. Then Juha I have access to, but I haven't watched it yet. It's a silent film by him. Then there are some of these collaborations with other directors, where like all the directors do like a short film. Then I haven't seen the um like these short films and stuff, and some of these are like music videos from the films, I think. So yeah. And yeah, then again you can see 25, 21 out of 39. So I've again seen the major stuff basically, but there are some stuff that I haven't seen. Then, by the way, I'm not sure whether La Vie de Bohemie is my favorite one. It's really hard to say. Then we have the great Robert Bresson, and I'm gonna go quickly because I'm 100% with his films, seen everything, even this short film and even this very early stuff like Angels of Sin and Les Dames du Bout de Boulogne. I've never been able to pronounce that one. Yeah, but I've seen all of these, and what a great career he had again. This is one of the most consistent filmographies that you can find. Then we have Jean-Luc Godard. Chinois is my favorite one. Pretty unpopular opinion, but Vivre sa vie is basically as good as this one to me as well. But yeah, La Chinois just really does it for me. But with Godard, there are many that I haven't seen yet. Again, you can see 30 to 136. Again, I don't think anybody has seen all of these. Yeah. But let's see. So here you can see lots of the kind of more major stuff that I haven't seen yet. So Tony, one of my great viewers, recommended this to me. The Married Woman. I'm very much looking forward to that one. I have it ready to go, but I haven't seen it yet. Goodbye to Language, again, later stuff of his, the Image book, made in USA, one of the rare 60s ones that I haven't seen. First name Carmen sounds very interesting, Film Socialisme. Okay, lots of this later stuff is way more controversial. Yeah. Then even if we scroll down, there's lots of interesting stuff like his King Lear will probably be very interesting. Um, then I've heard some good things about this one, Germany year 1990. Yeah, weird name. And Forever Mozart sounds very interesting as well. So yeah, lots of stuff. Okay, lots of his kind of later work is more inaccessible, but you can find it online usually. So yeah, but go watch La Genoa. It needs more love. It's so great. Then we have Hitchcock. Vertigo is by far my favorite, even though I love many other Hitchcock films too. But with Hitchcock, there is actually surprisingly many films that I haven't seen yet. Frenzy is probably the next one I'm gonna watch, but for me, it's lots of that kind of post-psycho films that I haven't seen, and then some of the like really early stuff. But you can see again, this is some of the later stuff. Well, this is from the 40s, but Marnie's later stuff. And again, some of the 40s stuff also, again, that I haven't seen, and even some of the 50s stuff, yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to watch many of these, so I'm not that excited for all of them, but I'm very excited to watch, for example, Lifeboat and Spellbound and Frenzy. Yeah. Again, I'm sure that I will like many of these, so because Hitchcock very rarely disappoints. Yeah. But this is definitely one of the kind of, I guess, bit embarrassing things that there are so many Hitchcock films that I haven't seen yet. And these are again all well available, so I have no excuses. But yeah, just haven't gotten around to them. Then we have the great Sion Sono. Why Don't You Play in Hell that I recently talked about is my favorite one. So here you can see the stuff that I haven't seen. Red Post on Escher Street I have ready to go. I've heard it's really good, so very excited about that. And Himi too is a very important one that I haven't seen. This one I have heard mixed things about hair extensions. This one I actually started watching once. This is a mini series, but I only watched the first episode and then didn't go back to it. I don't know why, because it felt interesting, but I just didn't go back to it. I Am Keiko. This is one of his earlier films, and yeah, I think some of these are also short films. Yeah, so I'm at 27%, 15 films watched. Then Fellini, I'm complete with him, although there's like one, like, you can see it's 96% because there's this, like, TV advertisement, so I haven't seen the ads that he made for TV, but I've seen everything else, so yeah, all of these other things I've seen. Again, another very consistent director. I didn't hate any of these films, so yeah. And controversially, okay, Satyricon is my favorite one. I might be the only person whose favorite Fellini film is Satyricon, but I just love it. Rewatched it last year. Then we have great Mike Leigh. With him, I've seen lots of stuff. You can see 48%. And lots of the stuff that I haven't seen are short films also. And again, these kind of big films that he made, Mr. Turner, Topsy Turvy, Peterloo, this just doesn't interest me that much for some reason. Again, they seem like kind of very big stylistic change from his normal stuff and not in a good way. But I'll watch these eventually, of course. But yeah. And Bleak Moments I'm excited to watch. And then there are lots of these short films. And I think not all of these are short films. They are maybe like hour long, some of them and stuff. But I will try to watch all of these that are available. Many of these stuff here, I think, are on YouTube. So, and again, my favorite Mike Lee film is either Naked or Secrets and Lies, but they are like tied together for me. Then with Kurosawa, I'm complete. Again, look how satisfying it looks like, especially when there's quite a few films. Seen all of these here. All of these great films, yeah. I mean, there are a couple weaker ones, but many of them are so amazing. And again, a pretty controversial pick for number one film. And actually, Yasujirō Ozu might be my favorite one, but I need to rewatch it before saying that. Yeah. Then we have a director who I always champion, and again, I wish more people would get into his films. Again, this film and some of his other films are available on Arrow, Blu-ray. Look at this shot. Heroic Purgatory. One of the most incomprehensible but beautiful films ever created. So again, Yoshida has two names, Yoshihige Yoshida and Kijū Yoshida. But Yoshihige Yoshida is, I think, his original name, but then he changed his name to Kijū Yoshida. But I've seen 10 of his films. Again, you can find many of these in the depths of the internet if that's something that you are willing to do. This is, for example, one masterpiece that I think isn't available like in official way in the West, but you can find a copy with English subtitles if you look in the internet. I've talked about the Rare Film website, by the way. I believe this one was there with English subtitles. So Rare Film, go watch this film. Very interesting. Even a bit Lynchian in a way, it feels like, yeah. And this is a masterpiece, but anyway, let's look at the ones that I haven't seen yet. Um, so yeah, here you can see the films that I haven't seen yet. So we have A Story Written with Water, Wuthering Heights, Akizu Springs, for example, Bitter End of a Sweet Night. Again, I've seen some of these available in the depths of the internet, so I just need to watch them. But yeah, Escape from Japan. But I think some of these things that are down here are stuff that aren't available. But yeah. But again, I really urge you to go watch Yoshida's films. I absolutely love them. Again, I don't really know how to sell his films because they are just often very incomprehensible, difficult, very political, but very radical in terms of the cinematic form they use. But that's what I love about them. Again, if you like challenging, more experimental cinema, Kijū Yoshida should be for you. And again, actually, some of these other films that are a bit less famous are actually kind of more normal films, but Aerospace Massacre, Heroic Purgatory, Woman of the Lake, Kudeta are pretty challenging films, and Confessions Among Actresses is in its own way quite challenging as well, but not as challenging as Aerospace Massacre or Heroic Purgatory. Then we have the great Michelangelo Antonioni. So with him, I'm at 42%. I've seen also some of the short films, but let's see. So I think these two are the big films that I haven't seen. Identification of a Woman. This is on the Criterion channel, so I might watch it soon. Then Story of a Love Affair. This I think is kind of one of those director collaboration things. Same with Beyond the Clouds. But yeah. And then there are some of these short films down here as well. Again, I've watched many of his short films on YouTube, but not all of these have been on YouTube, at least always. I might have to check again if some of them are. Yeah. But yeah, wonderful director. Okay, La Notte used to be my favorite, but then when I did some rewatching, L'Avventura became my favorite, but it's very close. Then we have Hirokazu Kore-eda. Again, with him, it's also very hard to say which is my favorite one. Again, Kore-eda has a fairly big filmography. I've seen 10 of them, so not that much in the end. I haven't seen any of the post Shoplifters films. And then there are some other, I think, short films and some other features that I haven't seen. So again, these are the post Shoplifter stuff. Third Murder I haven't seen. Distance I've heard. It's kind of some people say that it's very underrated that they really love it, but yeah. Then again, I don't know much about the ones that come after Distance. These ones, okay. Oh, this seems to be a new one. Yeah. And again, I think some of these are at least short films. And again, this stuff here, I think is like short films and maybe commercials and stuff like that. Yeah. But again, I love Kore-eda. He has never disappointed me, so I'm very much looking forward to watching all of these. The next one I'm gonna watch, I don't know yet, but again, I'm very excited to watch Broker and the third murder I've been meaning to watch, and also Distance. So, and this is brand new film, Monster. Then two more to go, and then the rest are for the second part of this topic. We have Jacques Demy. Emperors of Cherbourg is definitely my favorite one. So these are the ones that I haven't seen. So Model Shop, I think, is available on Arrow. Really want to see this one. Apparently, it's a good film. Then these, I think I haven't heard that many great things about The Slightly Pregnant Man or Lady Oscar or The Pied Piper, but I'm gonna give them a chance. Then again, I think lots of this stuff down here are short films and stuff. But yeah, these four are stuff that I at least need to watch. Yeah. And again, I'm at 40%, so yeah. These four are really great. Then last but not least, I mean, I guess it's kind of least because he's the least or I've ranked him the lowest on the list, but it's Abbas Kiarostami. Taste of Cherry is my favorite by him. Again, with Kiarostami, I've kind of seen the major work, but there is some of his lesser work that I haven't seen yet, but I'm very excited for it. So 12 films out of 50. But again, I think there are like short films here as well that I haven't watched. So I think these are the ones that I really need to watch. The Traveler, especially. Yeah. And again, I think many of these are the kind of stuff that is like the director collaborations. This one is at least, and yeah. And some of these are short films, or maybe even most of them are short films. So yeah. Looking forward to these. Anyway, that was the video. Again, it was kind of just a brain dead video where I just went through this stuff. But let me know if you have seen any of the films that I haven't seen here. Let me know your favorite directors. Let me know if you are interested in checking out any of these directors or their films that you haven't watched yet. Again, please, I'm begging you, please consider watching Kijū Yoshida films. Please consider them. They are so interesting, so interesting. And again, I think if more kind of cinephiles have had seen films like Heroic Purgatory and Aerospace Massacre, I think they would definitely appear in the sight and sound list and stuff if they weren't just kind of ignored by people, because these are like such creative masterpieces that words cannot express their genius. Like, please go watch them. Please go watch them. Yeah, I'm gonna shut up now, but thanks for watching this video. Go watch some great cinema. And again, there will be a part 2 for this topic, as I didn't want to cram all of them to one video. Don't drink all the Coke, but I certainly will. And sayonara.